Hey everybody, Thomas here. So, I needed to show this size comparison here. That Massey Ferguson 2705E is a 50 horsepower tractor. This log I have here is a cherry log, absolutely massive. It's about 10 foot long, or thereabouts. On this end down here, if you take into consideration the crotch that sticks out there to the on the camera, would be the right hand side, it is 35 inches. On the other end of the log, from the orientation of the camera, that is 32 or so inches wide, and then with the orientation this direction, it would be 28 inches. So this, in my situation, this is not a typical cherry that I come across. The first branch there starts at about 8.5 foot up, and that's where that first crotch is. When you have a log of this size, you really have got a game plan. You got to have a game plan just before you even put it on the mill, because if you put it on the mill in the wrong orientation, you're going to be taking it back off the mill, or you are going to screw up a cut and get stuck. And the worst thing to do is actually have yourself stuck. So I've got my rollers as wide as they can be. So Timber King claims that this sawmill will do a 32-inch cut, and it will, because I definitely have done at least a cedar piece up to 31.5 or so inches. But the issue I ran into was this little tube right here. I've actually had to take that off. So with this in place, you're losing about 1 inch. So I'm about 31 inches wide is what I can cut. I don't know if I would want to cut a log of that width without any kind of moisture going to it. I've actually looked at potentially getting a wiper type system to put on here. There's a Cook's manufacturer out here. They actually have a diesel felt tip wiper system that I think it does it on both sides. You'll have it like in front of the wheel on the pulley, and then on the other side of the pulley, so it's on the outside. And then there's like a diesel tank that you would put somewhere up here. It's a pretty neat little modification. One of my buddies, he's had it on his, and it works great. I asked him how often does he change out the felt tips. He's been running his mill for 10 years. He said never. Thought that was pretty impressive. So again, you have to have a game plan. I've got my, log stops up and everything, but I'm thinking, how am I going to actually turn this log once it's on the mill? I can use my chain turner here, and it will have no problem turning the log and everything. The problem is those teeth there, they will dig into the log and potentially damage the surface, which I don't want to do. And this is a log, I may be kind of a beast sometimes. I don't think I could turn this with a cant hook. 180 at least. I can definitely turn it probably 90 degrees, but a 180 with a flat edge on there, I don't know if I can actually turn this log. It's just massive. It doesn't exceed the limits of what the tractor can carry. This tractor can lift 2,400 pounds, and then if you take the weight of the actual attachment there on front, so this log is definitely over 2,000 pounds. But so I came to the dilemma of, like, how am I going to turn this log? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make my first cut. So again, I got to really pay attention. I actually have to keep this knot here in the upward direction when I first get the log onto the mill, because I want to get that figure in the tabletop that I'm cutting for a customer here, or bar top really. I want to keep that figure in there. So in order to do so, I have to keep the knot. But the knot is wider than my sawmill can cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I think that's at 35 inches or so. I'm going to take roughly, I don't know, somewhere around 7 inches. Maybe 6 inches. Because I only measured to here. I didn't even measure down to that knot there. So it might stick out a little bit further. and be wider than 35 inches. I've got to take enough that leaves me enough room to get down the mill. So 31 inches is what I'm saying is the absolute maximum. But I don't really want to cut 31 inches. The customer gave me the range of 26 to 30 inches, so I'm going to shoot for 29 inches. So again, I'm going to put this on the mill, and I'm going to have the knot orientated in the utmost direction. Once it is in the utmost direction, I will take a few cookie cuts off of these, because this is going to be beautiful stuff. It's cherry. These make great little mounts for anyone doing taxidermy, or it would be great for people who want to do little cookie cutouts for putting on their table, or shoot, maybe I've actually had a lady come out and epoxy one with some pictures into it of pets of hers that had passed away. Really interesting stuff you can do. The long story short, I got to take that cut off first. I'll get that nice and cleaned up. Then I will orientate the log to where I get 29 inches. So I'll have to turn the log. I have to figure it out exactly. But again, I'm going to first put it on there, get that knot off. Then I'll make a reference cut on whichever side I think is going to be the best. What I mean by reference cut is I'm going to make a cut that way then when I turn the log over will be on the bed plate of the sawmill. And then I can cut from there, and knowing that everything's going to be in the orientation I want, the plane I'm trying to get through. So again, I'm not going to use my log turner, so what I'm going to do is I'll make that reference cut, then I will take it off the sawmill with the tractor. I'll take it out to maybe some logs somewhere in the yard and everything, put it down, flip it over using the tractor, trying to minimize the amount of damage caused to the log surface, and then put it back onto the sawmill, and then begin doing my cuts. So I'm not going to do that video right now. I just want to talk about my game plan that I've thought up while I'm making this video. And then the other good thing is I can leave it on the mill for essentially indefinitely, because we have these stainless steel bed caps here. I cannot stress how important these are if you're doing specialty cut woods. On my LT15 I used to have, that my dad has up in Tennessee, it does not have that. And you could leave a piece of wood on there for an hour, and then you'll get those black marks. What I mean by black marks on a log, I can show you, because I actually had, I'd moved these with the tractor. Not the best. But anyways, you would get something like this. So you see this darkening of the sawdust here. There would be a black stain on that wood underneath. Anything metal that's not stainless will actually leave a mark, and it doesn't take long, and there's nothing more irritating when it bleeds through your wood. It just doesn't look that pretty, especially when you're in the drying process and a customer sees that and they're like, "Oh, will that come out?" I'm like, "It will after you plane it down or sand it out." So again, that was kind of like my game plan, how I'm prepping myself mentally, physically, and everything for this just massive cherry log. Stay tuned, and I will have a video of me putting this onto the mill and then actually doing the cutting of this. It's probably going to be like a 3-part set. The first part being the actual walkthrough of how I'm going to do it. The second part will be making my reference cut, turning it, getting my other cut done, and then the third part will probably be the actual finished product where I'm cutting those center, essentially quarter sawn portions for the tables that I have to do. So hope this is enjoyable, hope this is informational, and keep in touch and stay tuned, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks again. Bye.